We are live. That's not very centered. So it's my birthday. It is my birthday, and it's quite early in the morning today. And since it's my birthday and it's my channel, I thought I would do the thing I like to do, which is these days, right now, is examine the process. I'm going to get this out of the way quickly. Thank you. I'm going to try not to respond to all of the questions and comments, although Dublin in the house, a lot of happy birthdays. I really appreciate that because I've got a train of thought that I really want to get across. Again, it's my birthday. It's my channel. This is what I love to do. Although I mention Khabib and Conor in the title, and that is the motivating factor of where I'm going, and it is the driving force of what I'm thinking about. I will not be discussing today whether Conor can stop Khabib's takedowns or whether Khabib can take Conor's left hand, whether the striker or the grappler. I will not really be discussing that today. So if that is what you're looking for, please accept my apologies, and I understand you can go. I'm also not looking for any advice on how to get more followers or how to do something better or different, although sometimes that can be very valuable. Just want to be clear, I have a number of very good jobs as a commentator and as a television analyst. So this channel is where I just think it's my pleasure. It's what I love to do. And this is the fight that excites me the most in a long time. And I just wanted to look at the process, the how and the why and what we're doing and what we're interested in and why we're interested in it. I'm going to talk probably 8, 10, 12, 15 hours about this fight because I love it. And this is what I do. Thank you. A lot of happy birthdays, and I really appreciate it. It's very kind. I really do. I truly do. My wife is off today she's got to perform tonight, and I'm going to Ottawa to do a seminar at New Era Combat Sports about analysis with a bunch of fighters and athletes. I'm very excited. Crew Jeff is bringing me out. So I'm leaving Pinawa, Manitoba in the house. That's where I grew up. So I'm leaving today on a train. So my birthday, this is my present to myself, to be able to say and do what I want to do. I'm very, very lucky to be able to spend a lot of my life just thinking about things that I love, like martial arts. But so this is where the process, and in my thing, it's backwards. I think you guys see it forward. If you don't, please accept my apology. But this thinking and this process of wanting to look at this fight over 10 or 12 or 15 hours over the next 8 weeks begins with my frustration. I'm frustrated. Is this backwards, by the way? If it is, I will read it to you. Also, if you're listening, if this is long enough that Mark puts it on Stitcher or SoundCloud or iTunes, I'm just holding up a board, but I will say what's on it. Can someone tell me if this is forwards or backwards? I'm frustrated. It starts with my frustration. I'm frustrated that it's backwards. Cool. Are you telling the truth? Oh, it is backwards. Well, anyways, for me, it's forwards. Frustration. Starting frustrated. Happy birthday. Yes, it's backwards. That's hilarious. I'm frustrated because I realize that I've been working very hard to become as good as I can at this art form that I do, which is analysis of martial arts and lessons that we can learn from it. And while talking about it the other day, I put on UFC 14, just very quickly, and we were talking about it exactly the same way as people 20 years ago talked about Mark Coleman versus Maurice Smith. And I'm like, holy shit, I have done a poor job. I didn't set out to just say striker versus grappler in a stylistic matchup and can this guy take this guy down? How's his takedown? I didn't set out to do that and just be the 37th guy who said the same thing over and over again. So I'm ashamed. So it starts out with frustration. We are looking at this fight the same way as we did 20 years ago. So my board is backwards, but the next thing on it, I started to make notes. So that's step one, 20, 30 minutes. I'm frustrated. I'm freaking out. Step one already happened. We already did that. Step two, we go to step two right now. We examine the process. We examine our process. Examine it. Now, with 10 or 12 or 15 hours, we can get great value by examining our process for an hour or 30 or 40 minutes. See what we can learn and see how to then, step 3, rethink the process. Step 4, new ideas. Step 5, question mark, question mark, question mark. We don't know where that's going. But so there's a couple other things here. I also have a marker. There it is. A couple other things. I can't write this backwards now because I don't know how to write backwards very well. But the process with which we examine fights is reflective on the process with which we think. That's what we think about. How we think. Right? And so does it matter how we examine Khabib versus Conor if we just like fighting? And my hair looks very dry. It's early in the morning and it's my birthday. I don't know if I mentioned it is my birthday, and I'm very excited to be able to think out loud with friends. So the way we examine this fight is reflective of the way that we think in our culture and our society. And that's bad, right? So the first thing we do, I wish I could write backwards. Maybe I can. The first thing that we do is we state, well, this is too much to write backwards. We state the obvious. So we begin, so somebody write this down. Or Mark will put it in the thing. We begin by stating the obvious, okay? If Conor hits him with his left hand, he'll go to sleep. If Khabib gets him down, he's going to mangle him. So we've just stated the obvious, okay? So we state the obvious. Thank you, Inked George. Step 2, we then choose sides, okay? Step 1, we state the obvious. Step 2, whoa, my board took out my thing. Fun, good start to my birthday gods. Thank you. State the obvious. Step 2, choose sides. And this is our great flaw. Thanks, Ink to George. We then choose sides. And this is our flaw. It doesn't matter if we're just going to sit around and argue about a fight, a prize fight. This excites us. We like it. It's cool. It's fun. But it's not really all that important to our culture. However, we do this with everything. This is what we do, right? Sometimes we don't even state the obvious. We just choose sides. Global warming. You say it's real. You say it isn't. You just chose sides. In most cases, the side was even chosen for you based on your affiliations. So if you're a Conor lover, Conor's left hand is going to knock him out. If you are a Khabib lover, there's no way this guy can take him. There's no way he can stop the takedown and Khabib will ruin him. Right? No, it's the obvious. It's not the conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom, also conventional wisdom, those two things seem odd together to me. We state the obvious, or we don't even do that. We just choose sides. So we choose sides. I'm Irish. I'm not Irish. I'm Canadian. I'm part native and part Welsh and part French Canadian. But if I was Irish, and I really like Conor, or I enjoy, but global warming is an uncontroversial scientific fact. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. It is controversial. Maybe it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be, but it is controversial because we've chosen sides. So that'll get us to the next steps. So we choose sides. Conor will knock him out. Conor's the best. Conor can't be stopped. That Celtic cross is the best thing ever. Or Khabib, never lost, 25-0, or is he 26-0? 25-0. He takes down everybody. He smashes them. Conor cannot live through this. We've chosen sides. We don't know much about it. We live our lives without studying this. But we've chosen sides. Now, this is where it gets fucked up. Once we have chosen sides, we then do a number of things. We cite examples to 26-0. We cite examples. What happened to my Facebook page? It got taken down because I use UFC content, and they don't like anybody using their content, even if you're trying to share it or celebrate them. It's their thing. I don't run that company. We choose sides, then we cite examples that support our chosen side. So thanks, George. State the obvious, choose sides, cite examples. Also, people watching it later, I don't think you will see all of these notes, but George has written those 3 down for us. State the obvious, choose sides, cite examples. So we start to cite examples now. We've chosen a side. Conor McGregor will knock this guy out. That's the side we've chosen. Or Khabib will take him down and ruin him, right? So we've chosen a side. McGregor will do that. Now we cite examples. Well, McGregor knocked out Aldo, man. He knocked him out in 1 punch. McGregor just picked apart Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez can wrestle. McGregor knocked out Poirier. You see that? Or we go the other way. We say, Khabib has taken down everybody. He's undefeated. Did you see the way Khabib took down Rafael dos Anjos? He was a champion. We start to cite examples. That will, again, illustrate the side that we've chosen. We've state the obvious. We chose sides. Khabib's going to ruin him. We cite examples. See, do you see how Khabib has ruined everybody? Khabib's ruined them all. Or Conor knocks them all out. Cite examples. Then, step 4, we use selective evidence. We use selective evidence to support it. That evidence is in brackets. It doesn't have to be that real so long as it supports what the side that we've chosen. And and often that evidence will somehow undermine the other side. Well, Khabib gets hit a lot, man. You get hit like that against Conor, and you are going to be, thank you, George, he's written that down. You know, my side is I've chosen that Conor will knock him out. I've cited examples. Did you see? He knocked out Aldo. He knocked out Eddie Alvarez. Now I have used selective evidence or other things, and I've said, did you see Khabib got hit against Michael Johnson, and he got hit against Ali Aquinta? If he gets hit like that against Conor, he's going to go to sleep. Or the Khabib side, it's like we then undermine them using selective evidence. Conor got taken down by Mini Mendez. Mini Mendez took Conor down. If Mini Mendez can take Conor down, Khabib's going to take him down. The only difference is Khabib's going to ruin him. So we have stated the obvious: striker versus grappler in a whatever the word is matchup, stylistic matchup. All matchups are stylistic, by the way. If you ever hear anyone say that, this is a stylistic matchup. All matchups are stylistic. State the obvious, choose a side, cite examples, and use selective evidence, preferably to undermine the other side. Step 5, we now start to vilify. They're fucking crazy if they think this. You're a nut hugger. You know, etc. Robin, I thought you let you down. You are a Conor fan. I am a Conor fan. And I'm a Khabib fan. But I'm a fan of the truth. And I'm a fan of the process. And I'm a fan of expanding how we do this. We state the obvious. We choose a side. I've chosen Khabib. We cite examples. You see Khabib's taking everybody down. He's 26-0. Here's footage that fucking gets him in the crucifix. He rides the wrist. Move on to, let's talk about the fight. No, I will not. This is my birthday. This is my channel. I'm going to spend 12 to 15 hours talking about this. And the 45 minutes to an hour and 15 we do at the beginning, even though I know most people who see it won't see it all, this is important. And this is what is not being done. So that's why I'm doing it. It's also hard. People don't want it. They don't want this. They don't want this. It's a waste of time. They don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. But this is what we're doing. Then you undermine the belief of, thank you. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Then you undermine the beliefs of the others. You undermine it. Then you vilify them. You're a nut hugger. And then you get angry. And then you fight. Right? So we have those all listed now. That doesn't matter that much if what we're fighting about is Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Both of these two men are going to have an incredible, exciting journey. Both of them are going to make a lot of money. Both of them are going to have an experience that they will remember for the rest of their life. We are all going to enjoy it. And many of us enjoy this, just choosing a side, citing examples, using selective evidence to support it, and then undermining the others, and then vilifying them and fighting. Many of us enjoy this, and by all means do it. But why am I bringing this up? Other than the fact this will help me get somewhere in the 10 to 12 hours that we study this. The reason I'm bringing this up, and the reason this matters, is we fucking do this with everything. This doesn't matter if we do it with football or fighting. But it really matters when we do it with politics and life and global warming and abortion and the government and war and gun control, etc., etc., etc. And we do this. Choose a side. Global warming's real. No, it isn't. Cite examples. Oh, it's the coldest summer we've had in 25 years. Or, on this side, it's, scientific evidence. That's not citing examples. That's evidence, but still. Then use selective evidence. Well, there's always been this. And then use the other side. It's like, but I am under the belief, the fairly certain belief, that global warming is real. But that doesn't mean I'm going to vilify these people. What the problem is this. The problem is this. The problem isn't that these guys are idiots. The problem isn't that these guys are shills who are being tricked by fucking whatever that guy is who did an inconvenient truth. The problem isn't these guys believe the mainstream media and these guys are lunatics. The problem is this process. And it doesn't matter with Conor versus Khabib. It doesn't matter. We can do this. It's fun. We can yell at each other, and then whoever wins, which is not going to be a reflection. I'm sorry, but you're just babbling right now, says Melvin. Melvin, go away. Why would you hang out if you don't like any of this? This isn't babbling. This is what is happening. This is what we do every day. And if 10 of you look at this and go, wait a second, with really important things in the world, I just arbitrarily choose a side. I cite examples that I don't really know much about. I use selective evidence and undermine the other side. If 10 of you look at that and go, maybe I will start to think differently, I've fucking done something valuable today on my birthday. I have. That's what I was hoping to do. Do something just of some little bit of value this morning for my own pleasure. That's what I'm doing here. So that's what's happening. And it isn't just happening with Conor McGregor versus Khabib. It's what we do in the world. We can do it in Conor versus Khabib. I'm not going to. I'm going to spend the next 12 hours, now that I've been frustrated, 1, and then examine the process, 2. I will move on to rethink the process, bring out new ideas, attempt to innovate, take some risks, and question mark, where that will lead. Because I did this. I took an hour. Took 30 minutes the other day to be frustrated, and I took 20 or 30 minutes today to examine the process. Examining the process, this doesn't matter for fights or football or soccer or what the British call football or lacrosse or any of this. It doesn't. But it matters in the world. The downfall of civilizations happen because people stop being able to think, and we're not thinking. The important part to take away from this, and this is what I'm going to attempt to do with the next 12 hours of analysis, that for me required frustration and then examining the process. You don't have to come along. Nobody does. I'm not doing this for money. I have jobs. They're well-paying and I enjoy them. This is for my pleasure. So we've examined this process, and along the way, one of the key things as we look at this process of fighting over nothing, where's the flaw? We chose sides so early. And then we did whatever we could do to illustrate something that somewhat arbitrarily we chose based on like or fandom or the tribe that we're in. When people say, why do people do this? A lot of the science says they do it to call or gain favor in their tribe. So somebody who doesn't give a fuck whether global warming is real or not, or doesn't give a fuck whether or not Conor can knock out Khabib, if you're Irish, you have to choose this side, you feel. If you're Republican, you have to say, nah, that's not real. And etc. So we do it to gain favor and respect within a tribe that we're in, right? So the next step that we have to do, and this is what I will do now in the 12 to 15 hours coming forward on examining Khabib versus Conor, is we must, to break out of this, we must be capable of holding conflicting concepts in our head at the same time. That's what we've lost the ability to do. Who cares if we do it on Twitter or with a fight? But it matters when we do it with the world, because cultures have fallen for less. Entire civilizations have fallen for less than an entire nation, North America. I live in North America. Other parts of the world separating into two sides, arbitrarily choosing something and then fighting and using any evidence to support their argument. It's all fucking stupid. And civilizations have fallen for much less than that. So we need to have conflicting and contradicting ideas in our mind at a time. Khabib can absolutely take Conor down and beat him up. And Conor can absolutely knock Khabib out coming in 13 seconds or 2 minutes. Khabib can knock Conor McGregor out on the feet. He can. That he absolutely can. He absolutely can. Conor can get on top of Khabib and pound him out or submit him. I see that as being less likely, but he can. We need to hold those ideas in our head if we're going to do anything with this fight other than argue about Conor's left hand versus Khabib's ability to wrestle. If and when we do that, and if and when we go back and we look at UFC 14, Mark Coleman versus Murray Smith, and we look at UFC 229, whatever it is, Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, and we look at the 20 years in between, it's possible we didn't learn anything, or we had it right the very first time we talked about it. That was all the information there was. Seems highly unlikely. A lot has happened. A lot should have been learned. It is fun to pick sides, and that's why it's okay in fighting. And that's why some people get frustrated from me discussing even this. I'm talking about the process behind why we do what we do. And for a lot of people, they're like, just fucking tell us if he's going to knock him out with his left hand or if Khabib's going to take him down, ride his wrist, get him into a crucifix and beat the shit out of him. Khabib did it to all these other 26 guys, and Conor knocks out everybody but Nate Diaz. But Conor can get tired. Look, he did with Nate Diaz, and Khabib won't. Like, I could do that for you. And if I didn't have well-paying jobs that I enjoyed and that, TSN where I work, let me tell you, I have the incredible gift of working with people who encourage this. They know that even though we have a regular, and we're getting higher ratings than anybody in the world with our UFC content, much higher ratings per capita in Canada than maybe Brazil's doing as well, but we're doing much better than America. And my producer, Aaron, my coworker, and somebody who informs a lot of the what we do, and Jason, my senior producer, they want us to go deeper. But we must examine. This is where I work it out on the privacy of my channel for my pleasure on my fucking birthday, and then I bring it, the nuggets, what we found, the way we've simplified these concepts after 12 or 15 hours of work. I'll bring that to my job at TSN. And my producers will encourage me to find slightly different ways to look at it. And that's a gift. That's a gift. I'm very lucky to have that. But here we are. So I've been frustrated. That was 2 days ago. I've been frustrated for a long time. But I've been frustrated. I was frustrated in particular when I watched UFC 14, Mark Coleman versus Murray Smith, and I realized, holy fuck, 20 years later, we're having the exact same conversation. This is a failure on our part, on my part. Frustrated, embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be everything that I wanted to do by being able to chase something that I'm passionate about and I'm curious about was to expand it, and I'm just at the same place. It's embarrassing to me. It's a failure. I'm embarrassed. So, only place to go, only way to do it is, there's a number of ways to do it. I just make up bullshit, and people definitely accuse me of that. But I won't do that. Regardless, you can accuse me of it, but I'm examining the process. By examining the process, we'll find where there may be flaws in the process. And while doing that, I found there's flaws in our entire way of thinking, which is probably the root of most of our conflicts in our country, nation, continent, a lot of the world. We just pick a side and then we just argue using half-truths and bits of evidence and selectively chosen things and ignoring anything that doesn't support our choice. We do that a lot. And we fight and we undermine each other. And then neither one of us, because we chose our side so early in our process and defended it so far, we can't give it up. And so neither side is ready to be influenced by the other. And so eventually they find, it's called loyalty. No, my friend, it's called stupidity. It's called stupidity. Loyalty isn't blind. Loyalty isn't blind. I'll tell you, from what I know about Conor McGregor, and Khabib, I don't know as well, although he's a pretty sweet, wonderful killer, and Kavanaugh, who I've worked closely with, they don't want your blind loyalty. They want to prove the truth to you. They want the truth to come out. You win, it's the truth. You lose, it's the truth. That's why fighting is so fucking beautiful. It's also why we can have these conversations. Some people are like, this guy's full of shit. Did I say anything untruthful today? Maybe you don't want to hear it. And maybe it's annoying. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you what we're doing. It's your choice what you do with it. It's your choice what to do with it. You know? Somebody said, what's your red room? My bedroom is red. Yeah. This is the truth. This is what we do. And this is why we do it. So now I've examined the process as best I can. I'm going to rethink the process. Not just because maybe I can come up with something interesting and different. And I do have some ideas I do have some real ideas that we're examining about Conor. Khabib's harder, as I don't have as much information. Partly because nobody's had very much success with him. This President's Choice Nitro Cafe is pretty tasty. It's also my birthday, so I said it, well, it's backwards, but it says, looks like it's fuck this shit o'clock. It's actually about 9 a.m. Yeah, I don't know as much about Khabib, and I'll tell you why. So this is first, beginnings of where part of this is going. He doesn't have very many bad minutes. Doesn't mean he can't or won't, but there isn't very many of them out there. That's fucking hard. It's hard to examine. However, and then, me and Khabib are friends now. I got a lot of hugs from that man when I saw him. He kept saying, don't believe Twitter, bro. I love your work. He also pretended to take me down in Calgary with a single leg and then wrestled me a lot and said he loved my work and that not to believe Twitter. But the conflict that I had with Ali, who's also a friend now and been very helpful and given me some very valuable advice, including that has led to me working for Brave CF. But someone else told Ali that I had compared Khabib to Ronda. And there's very little similarity between Khabib and Ronda, let me tell you. But the strategy of how to beat somebody who has such specialized greatness in particular areas is the same. And Ronda was just an example of how you do that. But it's the same sort of thing. Like people who are Mike Tyson, people who are never, you don't see many weaknesses eventually lose too. We all do. We all do. Somebody said, talk about padded record. Do you need me to? I mean, if you're saying that, this is the other thing. I'm not exactly sure why we want people to just say the things that we know. Like Khabib hasn't, Rafael dos Anjos, former champion, but he doesn't have a lot of big names on his record. And then, the first 15, we don't know who any of those people are. But that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if he was only 16-0 instead of 26-0. It doesn't make a lot of difference when we look at what he does. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference. You look at his dominance. But there's going to be a lot about purpose. Now that I've got this out of the way, now I've got this hour, this 8% of what we're going to talk about out of the way, frustration followed by examination of the process, we're going to move on to a lot of things. And a lot of it is going to be about focus and about attention and about concentration. It's going to be about ability to perform, undermining other people's ability to perform. When I do these deep dives, I go off on some pretty wild stuff in search of a nugget. And I'm doing a lot of reading about lion taming right now. Because a lion tamer does not tame that lion using a chair and a whip. Those are just props. Those are props for us, the viewer. The lion tamer controls the lion with his mind. That's real. That's real. So I'm doing a ton of deep diving into lion taming and bullfighting. I understand that bullfighting is a much simpler process, because once you understand that bulls don't adapt, they do what they're going to do always, and humans adapt. Humans adapt, sometimes in the moment, sometimes between last time you watched their video and now, which is why a lot of, again, our analysis, if we look at the process of that, this guy tends to do this, so this guy can do that. It's like, not really true. You only have 2 pieces of video of him doing that. There's 900 pieces of video of him doing the opposite in his gym. You don't have all the information. So, but we're going to look at that. The ability to undermine where somebody is at and how that is done. And it's real. I mean, is it a coincidence that Eddie Alvarez performed poorly, that Jose Aldo performed poorly? Is it that Poirier said he wasn't in it? That all these guys, other than Nate Diaz, all these guys can't perform well? Is that a fluke? Is that a mathematical, abnormality, statistical anomaly that all of these guys perform poorly? Or did Conor do something that resulted in that? The answer is that probably Conor did something. What is that? And we can say that's gotten in his head, or, got him off his game. Well, what does that really mean? What's happening in the mind, the brain? What's happening in the body? How does that manifest itself in performance? That's what we're studying. So we're going to look into that. I've got a lot of I got a stack of books about all of these things. Lion taming is an interesting one because it's not relevant, because he's not a lion. But some of the principles are there. And then, if we can identify what that is, if it's something, it is something. But do we have the ability to really explain what it is? Ahmed Mustafa says, I'm stoned. Then this is probably quite interesting, sir. Yes, so Conor was capable of creating bad performance in Eddie Alvarez, Jose Aldo, champions of the world, unbreakable men. Mendez, Poirier, all these guys. So if we have the capacity to actually look at what that is, rather than just using colloquialisms, if that's how you say it, I have a lisp, and using metaphors, although metaphors are valuable. If we can identify what that is, then the next step is, how did Nate Diaz overcome it? Or why was he immune to it? Or why did it backfire? Or what did he do? And all of a sudden, we start to have new information. Because whatever Nate Diaz did, can Khabib do that? Also, well, all these other guys fell to it, but Khabib, I mean, he's an undefeated Russian killer. Dagestani killer. He's not going to fucking fall for this shit. I said that about Eddie. Eddie has fought the best in the world for decades. Eddie fell to it. So what is it? That's the next step. Meantime, we're also going to rethink the process. Because if we're just going to sit around, arbitrarily choose sides early, without evidence, and then find whatever supports it and then argue it, we're going to fucking ruin our civilization. Never mind blow up Twitter. The worst part about it for me, the very worst part about this whole process is after. Because only one of these guys wins. And because they won, the other guys all claim to be right. Even though, one step the other direction, it went the other way. That's fighting. And then they torment the other side. They torment them. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. I thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. And I do appreciate you guys a lot. It's something different that I do, and it's something different that I want to do, and this is what's important to me, Eskimo bros. We also take concepts and we play with them for a long time these days in our culture. It's something different that I do, and something different that I want to do, and it's something different that I'm motivated to do. And I do it out of love and out of curiosity and out of excitement, my excitement for this. I'm not interested in doing the same thing. Like I said, I'm ashamed that 20 years later, I sound like the other guys, only with a goofier haircut, and I'm a little older, and, I'm ashamed that 20 years later, I'm sitting there having the same conversation that hundreds and hundreds of people like me did. This is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do when I wanted to study something for a living and dedicate my life to studying it. So I've got to do something about it. And so step one was frustration earlier this week. Step two, examine the process. I really hope someone, one or two of you guys, looked at that process and said, holy shit, I do this. I argue with people about the government, global warming, gun control, Me Too movement, whatever. Women, men, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, whatever we're arguing about. I just choose my side and I just grab whatever will support it and fight it to the death. If two of you stop doing that and get two other people to stop doing that and get two other people to stop doing that, we'll actually make the world a better place for real. At least our little world around us. So we're going to try to do that. I'm going to do my best. My apologies if I frustrate you. I know that I do, and I know that not all of you really should be hanging out with me. A lot of you don't fucking like where I'm going. And I mean this humbly, but I have really good jobs. This is done to do this. I don't want to do something else. I don't want to do it more like everybody else. And I don't want to get to the point faster. And I don't want to not examine the process. And I don't want to not go on rants. This is mine. This is my channel. And this is my fucking birthday. And this is what I want to do. And honestly, I feel so lucky to get to be able to do this. I do. I really do. And so thank you guys for coming along with me. Mark, if you put this on iTunes and Stitcher and stuff, which you can because all of my writing was backwards because the camera, I don't know, however it works, however, digital passing of information works, it makes my shit backwards on my thing. So it's probably just as weird and potentially annoying on podcast as it is on video. But I thank you guys for coming along with me. I truly do. I really, truly appreciate you. And the people that encourage me, I appreciate you. Oh, somebody said, Will, what social media platforms are you still on? Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Robin Black MMA on Instagram and Twitter. Oh, one quick thing at the end here. If you're still with me, I appreciate you. Next week, I will be putting out four 1-minute breakdowns on Instagram and Twitter for Bellator. They have, and don't anybody, make trouble. I had discussions with my friends at all the other places that I work, including people that I work with at the UFC, and they encouraged me as a freelancer to go and make my living. And they said, go do it. So I'm totally cool. They're totally cool with it. But I'll tell you, Bellator has been really fucking cool. They sent me amazing footage. I have 4 1-minute breakdowns. I'm calling them Best of Bellator. We're putting them out next week. So if and when you see them, please share them, please like them, and please comment and tell Bellator that you like my 1-minute breakdowns because I'd like to do more for them. I've really enjoyed working with them. I really have. It's been a lot of fun. And there's no drama anywhere. I'm a freelancer, and the people that I do work with, Brave in the Middle East, TSN here, some work that I do with the UFC, bare knuckle boxing, TKO, Glory that I contribute. All these people were like, yes, of course, do your job. There's this great company in Los Angeles, Paramount. They want you to do these. You're good at them. You enjoy them. They want them. The audience wants them. Go do them. So there's no drama. But please like them and share them because I really like those people and I really want to do more with them. And that's it. Happy fucking birthday to me. I'm 49 years old. I'm getting on a train today, going to Ottawa to do my very first breakdown seminar in a gym. New Era Combat Sports. If you're in Ottawa, come and check it out. Thank you for sharing my shit. And thank you for coming along for the ride. It truly, 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 honestly means a great deal to me. Till next time, enjoy the hostilities, my friends. And how do I stop this, by the way? Black out. Is it this X? Black out.